Hi, I am Majed from the University of Strathclyde presenting the paper on behalf of all authors. People with Down syndrome perform numerous daily activities during their lifetime that constantly repeat in diverse contexts. These activities can be related to cooking, shopping, working tasks, traveling, and everyday routines. Assistive technology and smart devices have huge potential to support young adults with DS. However, due to their limited sensory and motor skills, and the complex user interaction design of smart devices, some daily activities are still not easy to perform using assistive technology. This study looks into opportunities to use technology by designing and developing an accessible application to support daily independent activities that will work shamelessly and enhance the quality of life for young adults with DS. We focused on two main research questions. First, research question was to explore main barriers to perform independent activities for young adults with Down syndrome. And second question was how technology and smart devices could help young adults with DS. We follow the participatory action research methodology involving young adults with Down syndrome and their parents and caregivers throughout the studies. And this study completed 3 cycles of participatory action research, including various methods for data collection, such as in-depth semi-structured interviews, online surveys, exploratory group discussions, and co-design meetings with participants. In the first cycle of participatory action research, we identified 6 key barriers to perform independent activities for young adults with Down syndrome using thematic analysis. These were lack of personal safety and security, verbal communication difficulty due to dysfunctional speech, barriers to independent travel, difficulties to technology accessibility and usability, forgetting activities and tasks, and lack of information and knowledge. Barriers to independent travel were reported to be quite challenging through new routes with public transport for young adults with DS. All parents and caregivers expressed the desire that their sons or daughters become independent travelers, and they believe that increased independent travel would make significant changes to their son/daughter's daily life. Therefore, we further investigate barriers to independent travel. In the second cycle, we explored 4 key barriers to independent travel through group discussions with participants with Down syndrome and their parents and caregivers. Namely, unfamiliarity with the route, difficulty to access public transport, lack of technologies and app to support traveling, and parents' anxiety that limits self-traveling for young adults. We let participants draw and sketch their ideas in the paper. This is an example of a sketch for a smartphone app from one of the participants that illustrated all the steps of the journey, the messages displayed during travel, as well as reminders of landmarks for increased familiarity and trigger notifications to ensure a smooth journey. In the third cycle, we designed a prototype app for a smartphone app based on the requirements and sketches. We used Adobe XD for designing this prototype and returned to participants for their feedback. First, we let participants use it for observing the accessibility issues and discussed. Then we gave them a printed copy of the prototype in an A4 size paper, which made it easy for us to collect participants' feedback and comments. This diagram illustrates the summary of the research. First, we conducted a literature review and explored common factors that are encountered by people with Down syndrome daily basis. Secondly, we also explored usages of smart devices by young adults with Down syndrome through an online survey in Cycle 1, which we did not discuss in previous slides. We found iPad, tablet and smartphones as popular devices among young adults with Down syndrome. And as we discussed, we identified 6 key barriers to independent activities, and we explored further the barriers to independent travel. As we discussed 4 key barriers to independent travel in Cycle 2, we used framework analysis to analyze data of group discussions for an app to design. In Cycle 3, we returned to participants and identified a few suitable user interfaces such as linear map, seek for help, and graphics instruction. Also, we found gaps in the design prototype regarding accessibility and usability issues. The result indicates easy adoption with some of the new features such as linear bar map concept, which indicates opportunities to be able to learn the route using custom-designed apps for users with DS and eventually enhance their quality of life. We would like to thank Down Syndrome Scotland for helping us to recruit participants for this research. And we would like to thank all our participants for their time and contribution. If you have any questions, feel free to contact any of us using below email list. Thank you so much for listening.